Displacement maps and height maps are both grayscale maps, but they differ. Displacement maps actually alter the geometry of the object to which is applied, but height maps, which are also called bump maps, do not alter the object. Now I'm going to add another node, an image node over here, and I can just search for that, image texture, and get in the displacement map over here. So as you can see, the displacement map is a grayscale texture. The lighter area signifies areas that have higher displacement than the darker areas. So I can add that by clicking open image and we can proceed. Now, similar to what we did when we wanted to add the normal map, we're going to be adding another node for the displacement map. So I'll just click on any empty space, right click and search for displacement. So I have the displacement map over here and I'll drop it here, and I can now connect the color to the height and directly connect the displacement. Let me arrange this. The displacement node for this displacement map here to this displacement socket for the material output node. So if you look closely, you can watch and see what happened. So let me see if I can get that for you. So I'll just hide this so that we can see clearly. So control. So you can now see what's happening with the displacement map over here. And like I always say, I'm going to connect the vector socket for this displacement node to the vector socket for the mapping node so that it correctly aligns to the surface. So just to take note, in Blender, we usually use displacement maps a lot. But when we move over to Unity, you would see the provision for height maps. So when we get on over to Unity in the future course, we'll talk about, using height maps in Unity for VR. But it's still the same concept anyway. You can adjust the scale for the displacement map that you have added. So you can see that cranking up the value is, changing the effect over there. So another important thing to note is you have to ensure that you're on cycles, and this is because we want to see the effects correctly, just in case you're not seeing the changes in how the texture looks. So ensure you're on cycles and go over to the materials properties tab and scroll down a bit. You would see settings, and what we want to do is we want to set this displacement bump only option and switch it to displacement and bump. Now this is because we want to get a combination of the true displacement and bump mapping together, so this is why we need to set it from bump only to displacement and bump. So once you click on that, you might notice a difference. So you see bump only and displacement and bump. So you can see there is a subtle difference over here. So with that, we can go further to check another important thing. Over here, we have the color space, and if you notice for the diffuse, we are taking the color information, that's the RGB, and for the rest, we'll just need to set it to non-color. That's because we do not want to read any color information for the other maps, so you can just set every other thing to non-color. Okay, and I think we are making huge progress, so we can go ahead to talk about ambient occlusion, then we'll close this out.